There it is again to Fredrickson. One man, he gets by him. And finally, Paul Krause brings him down at about the 30-yard line. First down and 10, 7 minutes, 28 seconds left to play.
And again, that draw play that worked so well. You see Alex Webster motioning Butch Wilson into the game to replace Freeman White, who is limping off the field. Wilson going in at the tight end position. But the draw play working well against the Viking front four, who have been sort of freewheeling on their pass rush.
Fredrickson, 56 yards on 10 carries.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. Welcome to the Gridiron. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone out there who's been watching my videos. Thank you. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up or possibly leave a comment below or maybe even share this video, it would mean so much to me. But anyway, just thank you so much for just taking time out of your day to check out this video. Thank you. Well, the New York Giants. I saw a couple articles. They're not really thinking very highly of Saquon Barkley, shall I say. Especially the one from the ESPN. I mean, that was the one I first saw. They were talking about, it says, ESPN reveals harsh criticism of Giants running back Saquon Barkley. An unnamed, you know, I mean, if you're getting, these writers are writing, you know, they're getting information from coaches and stuff like that. You know, they want to keep getting information from these coaches and all, and the coaches don't want to be named. You don't name them. So an unnamed NFC offensive coach. Now, I don't know if that's, you know, could be a wide receiver coach, running back coach, an offensive coordinator, a tight end coach, you know, so NFC, so if we got, 16 teams, you know, it's probably not with one of the Giants coaches just going there. So we got maybe 15 teams. So, I mean, you can, I don't know, could be any one of, you know, 30, 45, 60 coaches, you know, so, but they're not really, the article's got some good points, and I'm going to point some stuff out too as well as we go along. So it's got some good points, but also there, you know, a little point counterpoint kind of going on here. But also here, the unnamed NFC offensive coach doesn't think very highly of the Giants running back Saquon Barkley's game. It doesn't think highly of Saquon Barkley. It's just his game. All right. Yes, we'll read along. So I mean, he thinks, you know, he could be doing better, and you know, some of it's pretty much, you know, spot on, you know. But I said also, you know, as I'll point out too. I mean, you know, had injuries. You know, you got like the wing T offense we were running last year and the year before that. I mean, you know. Bad offensive line, maybe if you want to say bad quarterback play. I mean, yeah, we had Mike Lennon last year, you know. I mean, so yeah. So there's, you know, there's in the article there's some very good points, and you know, I just kind of, I don't know, kind of another slap in the face of Saquon. So I'm kind of hoping Saquon stays healthy this year. You know, just keeps his mouth shut. Goes to the grindstone, hopefully between Thomas and Neal and Glowinski and whoever we got, you know, whether it's Izudu or Lemieux, Feliciano, hopefully that's starting five there or whatever. Hopefully they open up some holes for him. Hopefully Daniel Jones gets a little bit of some protection, a little more protection this year. Hope he feels a little more comfortable. Gets rid of the ball quicker. Hopefully we get Saquon out in some pass patterns, get the frickin' dude out in space and let him do what he can do. You know, and hopefully he has some good numbers, maybe like he did his rookie season. All right, and then maybe he can just start shutting some of these critics up. But a lot of it also he's got to do is what I just kind of said, get him out in space. Because what they point out in this article, and it is true. I mean, a lot of times it's like, you know, he gets the ball, he takes like one step, two step, whatever. And it's like, yeah, there's not much of a hole there. Well, it's, you know, it's your offensive line. So what's he try to do? He just tries to bounce and tries to maybe get out in space, right? Go out wide and see what he can get out there. But also points out in his article, so he's more willing to maybe take a step or two and then start going sideways and maybe lose 2 or 3 or 4 yards or whatever. He'd rather do that than maybe, put 2 hands on the ball, put your head down and go into the line of scrimmage and maybe pick up 2 tough yards. Yeah. Also his pass blocking is not very good. But, his article, it is a kind of a slap in the face, but it does have some merit. So let's take a deep dive, shall we, into this article here. ESPN reveals harsh criticism of the Giants running back, Saquon Barkley. All right. The New York Giants. What do we got here? We got ESPN reveals harsh criticism of the Giants running back, Saquon Barkley. In a new poll by ESPN, an unnamed NFC offensive coach doesn't think very highly of the running back Saquon Barkley's game. Right? And, some of this is, it's kind of hard to argue with here. Perhaps no other member of the New York Giants besides quarterback Daniel Jones is as polarizing of a figure as his teammate, running back Saquon Barkley. While NFL.com named Barkley as its choice for team MVP ahead of the 2022 season, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, in his top 10 players at each position series based on feedback from around the league, paints a much different picture of how Barkley is viewed around the league. Wow. Barkley, who earlier in his career would have been an automatic inclusion on the top 10 list, earned an honorable mention from those who voted on Fowler's list, with one unnamed veteran NFL coach offering a rather harsh take on what Barkley brings to the table. I'm down on him. He still doesn't know how to play running back enough, the anonymous coach told Fowler of Barkley, who has missed 22 games over the last 4 seasons due to injury. Yeah. He's a bouncer. He wants every run to be a home run. He's going to have to learn that a 4-yard run in this league are good instead of stopping, cutting it back, and losing 2. And he gets his backside kicked in protection. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He's got to get better at the pass blocking. Absolutely. The unnamed coach certainly has some valid points, though, to be fair, the lack of a creative scheme, Barkley's own admission of not having full confidence in his surgically repaired knee, and the inability of his blockers up front all played a factor in a season in which he recorded career lows in rushing attempts, 162, rushing yardage, 593, rushing touchdowns, 2, and first downs, 27. Struggles in a minimum of 10 games played. That said, Barkley hasn't helped himself with what at times has looked like uncertainty after taking the handoff, leading to defenders catching up to him and dropping him for either minimal yardage or a loss. Yeah, we saw that quite a bit last year. Oh, yeah. A running back has to help out his blockers. And it can be argued that Barkley didn't always do that last year. Yeah, last year was not a banner year. His pass blocking has also been another minus of his game. Per Pro Football Focus, Barkley was tied for 12th among running backs for most pass pressures allowed last year, 6, and in fact led all NFL running backs who were part of his draft class in that category. Barkley has 20 career pressures allowed and 219 pass blockings. That's a 93.6 pass blocking efficiency rating. But so basically like 1 out of every, what would that be, 11? He allows a pressure. Despite his short history, the Giants are optimistic that their new system will better take advantage of what the former Penn State star does well. One of those things is his ability to win one-on-one matchups in space when he goes up against a linebacker or defensive back. Yep. Another is his receiving ability. Well, I'm going to go over that, shortly. Where he scored 76.3% of his passes, averaging 7.8 yards per reception. The Giants, in recognizing that, have already run several looks in which Barkley is lined up in the slot and out wide during spring practices, where he found success in those drills. But if Barkley, who is in a contract year, is to earn a big payday, he will have to show it. He can be a do-it-all back. That includes picking up his pass blocking game, and lowering his shoulder more consistently to move a pile or designed to run between the tackles. I mean, absolutely. Now, if you look over here, right now, I mean, this is what his worth is right now. It's 5.6 calculated market value, 5.6. So that's even lower than what he's getting paid right now. He's getting paid, I think it's like 7 million, I believe it is. So, I mean, but his market value, I mean, so if after the season's over with, what they're saying here, Spot Track, okay, his market value, he should get a contract of about $22.5 million, average salary $5.6 million, which the NFL, there would be 344 other players getting paid more money than him in the NFL. His running back rank is number 15, so he'll be like right down. You know, I mean, if there's 32 teams with their starting running back, I'm just going there. He'd be number 15, so he's like right down in the middle. So I mean, that's right. So his free agent, I mean, so right now his salary, right, 7.8 million. Okay, so but so I mean, actually, he's getting, according to Spot Track, he's getting overpaid for it just is his market value. So I mean, that's so if this is what they think he's going to get. So I mean, the Giants can maybe might seriously, if this is what his value is, I don't know if he'd take it, but I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, Giants might even consider, anteing up for this. I mean, if he's going to want 10 to 12 million or whatever, I mean, I don't think the Giants are going to do that. Again, I don't know what team is going to do that if he keeps up with his numbers the way he's been going. So he's got, this is a huge year for him. Huge year. Okay. So Saquon Barkley doesn't know how to play running back, says the NFC coach. Criticism of the Giants running back just keeps piling up. So Saquon Barkley just keeps taking hits from national NFL media as the 2022 NFL season approaches. The latest comes from an NFC coach in an ESPN article that left Barkley out of a list of the league's top 10 running backs. Here's what the anonymous coach said. I'm down on him. He still doesn't know how to play running back enough, a veteran coach said. He's a bouncer, like we read, right? Just a few days ago, Dan Hanzus of NFL.com dropped Barkley from the NFL Superstar Club. Wow. He wrote, last year I wrote that Barkley gave me pause because of his injury history and slow recovery from reconstructive knee surgery. And yet I granted him another year in the Superstar Club because those dominant stretches in his early years with the Giants still felt recent and attainable. It's hard to say that after a forgettable 2021 season in which the former number 2 overall pick averages 3.7 yards per carry. Yes, Barkley was trapped in a terrible offense run by Joe Judge and Jason Garrett, but he has also lacked the explosiveness he showcased before the knee injury. So, I mean, well, a lot of times they say sometimes it takes 2 years to come back from a knee, so quite possibly. I mean, between his ankle last year, not fully trusting the knee, the crappy offense, this, that, and the other thing, maybe it all just lined up that way. So maybe sometimes they do say it takes that second year for the knee to, to get back to where you were before. So we'll have to wait and see. Certainly got to wait and see. All right. The version of Barkley who came out of Penn State could turn doom plays into huge gainers. The guy we watched last fall in the Meadowlands rarely got more than what the defense gave him. Still just 25. Barkley gets a fresh start with a great offensive mind and new head coach, Brian Daboll. We're hopeful, but Barkley needs to prove himself again. Yeah, that's very, very fair. I can't argue with that. Valentine's views. It is impossible for me to argue against any of this. I stopped calling him superstar running back Saquon Barkley a long time ago. I have talked for years now about Barkley not wanting to run with power inside. That's true. It's true. And about his frustrating tendency to turn what should be short gains into short losses. And no, Barkley does not pass protect well. No, he doesn't. Absolutely not. But one thing he does do, if you get him in space, he does this. Right here. Right? Is that touchdown pass that he caught against the Saints? Daniel Jones throws him. This is after he got into the end zone, turned around, ran like halfway down the field to Daniel Jones, right? Breaks down. So that this is what he did. He get him out wide, right? He put a good fake on. I don't know what the hell the cornerback was thinking, but Daniel Jones hit him in stride. Saquon's running down the sideline, had one safety to beat. He faked the safety out of his jock strap. Boom. He's in the end zone for a touchdown. So let's see if we get a little more of this going on next year. I'd love to see that. Absolutely love to see that. All right. Is this the end of it here? I think it is. Okay. So we got, I'm not, like what I'm saying. So I'm not arguing with any of it. Former Giants scouting assistant Tom Rudolph and I discussed Barkley on a recent episode of the Valentine's Views podcast. He does always look to bounce runs outside, Rudowski said. Almost a little too much, in my opinion. I think there are plays and there are times when a running back just needs to keep it within the tackles and get what's blocked. 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards. Rudowski thinks the arrival of head coach Brian Daboll will be good for Barkley. Can't be any worse. Brian Daboll could really be perfect for Saquon and what he needs. Certainly, we will all understand Saquon entering a huge season with a lot of pressure on him specifically this season, and that relationship of him to Brian Daboll could lead to a lot of success, I think, Rudowski said. Brian Daboll's offense is definitely more spread out, which is what Saquon needs. Certainly, Daboll doesn't have a reputation of a run-first coordinator. But that's not a bad thing for Saquon. In fact, I think that will be a really good thing because I think situationally Saquon will be in better positions and will be put in better spots to have a lot more success than maybe we've seen him in the last few years. Certainly he needs it. Rudowski's opinion that getting Barkley out from between the tackles would be best for him. Absolutely. He's at his best on the perimeter. He's not a between the tackles bruiser who is meant to have 25 to 30 carries a game and wear down a defense. No, absolutely not. That's not the type of runner he is, Rudowski said. I don't want to call him a finesse runner because I think that he would be doing him a disservice. But I think he is better on the perimeter where he can use that change of direction, that explosiveness, those unbelievable athletic qualities that he has as opposed to being inside the tackles, ground and pound type mentality. Yeah. I mean, the only one that's going to ground and pound would be Barkley. I mean, if you start doing that, it's just going to wear on him, and you're not going to get the best out of him. And we just don't have the system, and we just don't have the blocking and all and everything to, get a nice hole in there and Barkley takes off. We just don't have that. So, I mean, so we got here. This is here. Saquon Barkley was dead last in big play rate among all running backs last season with at least 100 touches. And this included Devontae. Devontae Booker was quite a bit ahead of him, too. Devontae Booker ran behind the same crappy offensive line, same crappy quarterback play, same crappy offensive play calling. And Devontae Booker did better. So let's zoom in on this baby a little bit here. Okay, Nick Chubb. Whew, man. Nice number, 17. He had 43 big plays on 248 touches, right? 17.3% of the time, right? I mean, in contrast, you look, Nick Chubb has 248 touches. Saquon had 203. So, Nick Chubb had 45 more touches. But he also had 33 more explosive plays. I mean, all right, so we see Saquon Zach Moss even had a better percentage than him. Saquon, 10 big plays on 203 touches, 4.9%. With Devontae Booker, 15 big plays, 185, 8.1%. Not quite double, because that's about 5. Right? So we say 5 there for Saquon, and you got 8 for Devontae Booker. Right? But still, right? I mean, Devontae Booker got paid a lot less. He was the backup. Okay. As I said, same crappy offensive line, same crappy offensive play calling, same crappy quarterback play, this, that, same, wide receivers getting injured, this, that, all this other stuff. And, so I'll tell you what, man, it's just a shame. It really is a shame. I mean, I like Devontae. He did such a good job for us last year. It's just a shame. But I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, I would love if we could have kept him. I mean, kept the same guys. I have Saquon number 1, Devontae number 2. But when you got a a new regime coming in, they want to clear house, right? Bring in their own guys. So, all right, we'll have to wait and see. But it was a shame because I think really think Devontae Booker did a very nice job for us. But I mean, Saquon Barkley was dead last in the league. But I mean, as I said, it wasn't all him. I mean, obviously, you're not, with the play calling. I mean, I think a lot of what we were doing in the past, right, especially with the clapper, I'm going to go over in a second what Saquon numbers were with Pat Shurmur calling the plays, right? So with Jason Garrett calling the plays, all right, I think it was kind of more or less kind of like, I'm going to take a square peg and try to shove it in a round hole, right? We got Saquon Barkley, and we're going to try to make him do what he doesn't do best, and if he doesn't like it, tough, right? Instead of what does he do best? This is what he does best. This is what we're going to have him do. So that way he can be more successful that way. So, but as I said, if you look, right, I mean, obviously we all know, right? It's rookie season. Okay, 1,300 yards rushing, 5 yards a carry, right? 91 receptions, 721 yards, over 2,000 all-purpose yards. I mean, just phenomenal year. Rookie season, 15 touchdowns, 11 rushing touchdowns, 4 receiving touchdowns. I mean, just 2,000 yards, just phenomenal. This is what you expect. I mean, it's like the number 2 pick. Should we have taken him? Nope. Number 2, nope. Absolutely not. But we did. Okay. But 2,000 all-purpose yards. And there was even, talk about maybe him for a little, somewhere along the line, maybe possibly breaking like the all-time record, for the most all-purpose yards in a season. But, I think he kind of, toward the end, some of the numbers tailed off a little bit. But even his second year, he missed 3 games, right? He still managed to get 1,000 yards rushing, right? 3 less games. Okay, he still averaged 4.6 yards per carry, right? But this is all before the knee. This is with Pat Shurmur calling the plays, right? This is before the knee injury. Okay, this was the high ankle sprain right here. Okay, here had the full season, but also this full season here was Eli. You had Evan Ingram out there. We had Sterling Shepard out there. We had Saquon Barkley out there. We had OBJ out there. We had unbelievable crew, cast of characters out there, okay? Kind of spread things out and all and everything, you know what I mean? So if you pay more attention on Saquon, OBJ is going to burn you deep, right? So he had that going for him, right? But that's that. Once again, I said Pat Shurmur calling plays, right? He had 1,000 yards rushing. He still had 52 receptions, okay? He had 8 touchdowns. He had 6, and he had 2, right? But then you notice, I mean, the next 2 seasons with the Clapper calling plays, he's had a grand total of 4 touchdowns, right? So, I mean, obviously, of course, he got hurt early in that second ball game, so he missed the whole season. He only had 19 rushes for 34 yards. First game of the season against Pittsburgh, I mean, we just couldn't block anybody. It was really, really horrible. It was really bad game. And he didn't get no rushes, no yards against the Steelers, and he went against the Bears, and he got hurt really early, so, and it wiped out his whole season. But then last year he missed a few games last year, right? But then, and even here, when he had the high ankle sprain, he was out for 3 games, and he came back, and he probably shouldn't have came back. He probably should have rested another week or so, whatever like that. And he came back early. I kind of think that maybe kind of hurt maybe his average a little bit or whatever. But look, the last 2 years, like 1.8, right? And he had 3.7. Just really bad. 3.7 yards, right? Just very, very disappointing. Very disappointing now. As I said, we got here, right? I can't show. My head's in the way here, but this is rookie year. 2019. I guess from 2019. Actually, let me do this. His rookie year up here. Boom. There we go. All right. Look at those numbers, right? His offensive number 85.2. Pass reception 86. He had over 90 receptions. That's what Shermer was doing, right? Pass block at 54. He's got to work on that. His running, right, was 83.8. But you'll notice here, last year his pass block grade 34.3. The year before that, 27. His first year, 54. 63 got a little bit better, but you'll notice also each year, his offensive grade goes down every year. It's 85.2, 72.2. But now the thing, as I said, was, okay, this is why I had this up, y'all. He missed, actually, it was Daniel Jones's first start ever. He got hurt in that game, all right? And then Daniel Jones put the team on his back, said, dude, we're giving up points to the Bucs. Follow me. We're scoring touchdowns. We're going to win this game. And he did. So you'll see here against Tampa Bay, right? He played 23 total snaps. That's when he got hurt. And he missed, from weeks 3 to 7, right? He came back in 7, but it seemed like he was still he should have taken another week or 2 off, but you couldn't tell him that. So kind of like he got maybe, he hurt himself a little bit, being effective, because he came back a little too early, okay? But he played the rest of the season, okay? But it's here, some of this, like 28 pass blocking grade right there against the Jets, 17, 37. So he didn't do too bad there, all right? But I can't go. Let's do 2021, his pass blocking grade. Man, pass blocking grade there. What do you got? Well, he got hurt in this one against the Cowboys, so he didn't have any. But and he came back against Tampa Bay, 18.6, 10.4, and 19 the last game against the Washington football team, and 19. He's got to get better. He's got to get better at that, without question. But as I said, there's no reason why, if we can't, maybe he won't get 2,000 all-purpose yards. Quite possibly. Because maybe he won't run the ball as much. We're going to throw the ball more. We got a lot of weapons to throw the ball. You got Daniel Bellinger, who's, we're not quite sure how much of a weapon he'll be. But if we can get Kadarius Toney on the field, whenever Sterling Shepard comes back, we got Wan'Dale Robinson, maybe Darius Slayton might have some success this year. I'm sure he's going to want to, because he's going to want to get paid next year. Saquon Barkley out there in the pass game, get him out wide, right? We have Kenny Golladay out there. Hopefully we get more success out of him. So maybe Saquon might wind up possibly, maybe not go back to his rookie year as far as many touches, but he might get maybe as touches as he did last year, but it might be more like, I don't know, what would you say, maybe 60-40, 60% runs, maybe 40% receptions, but look for better things from Saquon this year. If he can just get away from the injury bug. Last year was an absolute ridiculous injury he had. Just looking the other way, stepping on somebody's ankle, twisting his ankle, and missing those games. A very freakish injury. So if he can stay injury-free this year, okay, I really think that with the better play calling, the better offensive line play, right? That we're gonna put Saquon back out maybe in space where he's at his best. I think look for certainly some better things from Saquon this year. Maybe not as good as his rookie year, but hopefully Saquon will shut some of the critics up after this season's over. So you see, I mean, kind of tough to argue with the article. I mean, it's not so much, I said, whoever it is, it's not so much degrading Saquon Barkley, maybe not as a human being, or maybe to some degree not as a player. It's just his game. It's like, how he goes about, sometimes you gotta pick up the tough. Sometimes you gotta lower the shoulder. It's a tough game. I mean, the pass blocking. I mean, you got somebody coming in there rushing the quarterback. You got to stand in there and deliver a blow. He just, he just doesn't seem to want to do that. And also like with his injuries, he's kind of, maybe not feeling 100% or not trusting 100% that his injuries are healed. Or if he does something again, something might go wrong, or So I mean, the article is quite, quite spot on. It's kind of hard to argue with some of that. And then also this one chart I showed, how Saquon Barkley was dead last at creating big plays. I mean, his percentage, 4.9% of the time he touched the ball, he created a big play. I mean, that's not good. I mean, he was at 4.9%. Devontae Booker last year was at 8.1%. I mean, Devontae Booker was behind that crappy offensive line, that crappy offensive system and all, and Devontae Booker did a much better job than Saquon did. So, but I mean, also I said, to Saquon, some of it's in his head. Okay, without question, can I go full speed on my knee? Can I go full speed on my ankle? So some of that's in his head. Some of it is the play calling from the 1920s. Some of it is, the quarterback play. I mean, it's not the best. Some of it's the wide receivers because they're injured, right? Some of it's the poor offensive line. So it's a lot of things, right? But the article itself is kind of hard to argue with. And as I said, I don't think the guy was really. I think you just the way it's his game. It's not Saquon as a person or anything like that. I think he definitely thinks that Saquon could certainly do better than what he's doing, but also play a little tougher, which Saquon, hasn't really shown to do too much in the past. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there. Go Giants! Woo!